Very few people are comfortable with cold calling from the start. It's okay to feel nervous, we've all been there, and it gets easier with time. An important thing to remember is that the majority of the calls will go to voicemail, so having realistic expectations will go a long way to building comfort and avoiding disappointment. The number of calls that you will do as an SDR can vary greatly, but you can expect to do between 20 and 50 calls per day. Some companies will have auto dialers, which will quickly call prospects on your list, making it substantially faster to get your calls in. You'll want to defer to your sales leadership to make sure you understand what the expectations are for call volume. Sales is a numbers game, and as long as you put in the right amount of activity, the results will follow. One of the most common objections you'll face is, "I don't know you." You can overcome this objection by providing more information about yourself and your brand. If you've shared your social media platforms with them, ensure they're up to date and include clear, concise information about what you do. You can also send a personalized introduction email to potential leads. Another common objection is, "I'm not interested." You can overcome this by providing value and highlighting the benefits that your product can bring them. Make sure that your sales pitch focuses on the customer's needs and explains how your product or service can help meet their goals. You can also offer a demonstration or a free trial to show the potential customer how your product works. "I'm too busy." Remember, you're contacting the customer for the first time and they have little to no prior knowledge of your product or service. They're probably not expecting this call, and you might have just caught them in the midst of something. When shot with, "I'm too busy," don't try to continue with your pitch. They just said they don't have time for it at the moment. In such situations, try scheduling a time for the potential customer to get in touch with you, or offer to make an appointment at their earliest convenience. "I can't afford it," or "it costs too much." We're not going to sugarcoat it, but these are some of the most challenging objections to overcome. In a perfect world, every business would be able to offer discounts, coupon codes, or free trials to every customer to encourage them to try out their product or software. However, if you're a small business or if you're working for a small startup, chances are you can't always afford to do this. As a workaround, you can provide additional services at no extra cost. "I'm not the right person to talk to." When faced with this reply, try asking them for the contact information of the right person. If they're unwilling or unable to provide it, you could send over your contact information and some brochures about your product or service in a follow-up email. "Is this a sales call?" "Is this a sales call" can often sound condescending and almost always means they won't be interested in what you're going to say for the rest of the call. However, don't be fazed and feel as if you're being rejected immediately. The key here is to be completely transparent. Calmly state that this is a sales call, share more company information, and state that while you'll ultimately be pitching your product or service to them, you'd like to first highlight some ways that you can help solve their challenges. You can also share how you've helped some of their competitors, if applicable, or some of your most successful clients. Knowing your product's benefits and industry can help you provide valuable information to potential customers. "I need more information." When a potential customer says that they need more information before making a decision, this is your opportunity to provide them with what they need. Send them a product brochure, case studies, or a price list. You can also offer to schedule another time to get in touch with your prospect again, or set up a product or service demonstration so they can see your product in action. We already have a solution in place. Chances are you're not the only provider of your product or service, and your competitor might have already beat you to it. Fortunately, this can be easily solved if you play your cards right. At this point, don't repeat the benefits of your product or service. Your prospect already knows how you can benefit them because your product or service is similar to what they have. Instead, show your prospect why you're the better option by highlighting some of your core features. It'll be even better if you have more mature features or features that your competitors don't have. Coupled with some strong case studies to back you up, and maybe if you have the stats to show that they could save time and money by switching to yours, you could be set. Can your product do X, Y, or Z? If a potential customer asks if your product can do something that it cannot, this is an opportunity for you to assess where they are in the sales process. It would be best to understand how far along the sales cycle the customer is before you make any claims about what your product or service can do. Try asking questions to further understand their needs and why they might need those features. "We're not ready to buy." "We're not ready to buy" is another common objection, and it's essential to understand why the potential customer is not ready to make a purchase yet. You can try asking them about their reason, and what they would need to see or hear before they would feel comfortable about making a purchase. You can also offer additional information or schedule a time to speak with one of your other representatives or resources. To add to those, offering a demonstration of your product or service can be a great way to make them more inclined to purchase. That doesn't apply to us. Maybe you made a slight mistake or misinterpreted your prospect, and in no way should you feel dejected. This could be an opportunity to learn about a new business and how your product or service might be able to benefit such companies. That said, when they say that your product or service doesn't apply to them, this is an opportunity for you to ask follow-up questions to understand the nature of their business better. If you've done your research, good job, and know that similar companies are using your products or services, you could also highlight this information to your prospect. Maybe they aren't aware that they're lagging behind and they could use the help of your product or service. But if there really isn't any way that your product or service can fit into their processes, don't force it. I'll get back to you. The classic, I'll get back to you, but I'll never respond. Let's be honest here. Most of us have said this before, whether it's through a cold call or a cold email. It's a good way to imply that you might be interested, you're gonna think about it, and then you'll follow up with a sales rep, even though you know that you really won't. Now that you're on the receiving end of this response, here's how you can overcome it. Ensure that you regularly follow up with your prospects after the first call and check in to see if they're still interested in your product or service. Send some brochures, send some white papers, send over some webinars, any other additional information that could help them. Some prospects are genuinely busy and forgot about your meeting, so following up with them can refresh their minds. Also, don't forget to schedule a time with them in the future or include a scheduling link or anything to make it easier for them to schedule a meeting without having back and forth emails. I've never heard of your company. If handed two options, most people would choose a larger company or one that is more well-known. It's human nature to do things with people you trust, know, like, and are familiar with. Well, this also applies to the business world. However, don't be insulted or intimidated by such a response. There are many businesses out there, and it's impossible to know every single one of them. Or perhaps you're still relatively new to your industry and you have yet to make it big. In such a situation, you could highlight the background of your company, when it was started, what was the origination story, maybe some interesting facts about the company. Now that the prospect is made aware of your existence, you can start to build trust by sharing successful case studies, investor fundings, or any other awards that you've won. Anything that you can do to build credibility. I don't know if I need this right now. You could have done a great job at explaining your product or service and how it can add value to your prospect's business, but sometimes they might not see the need for it. You could ask them to elaborate on their current business priorities or why they feel that this isn't important to them at the moment.